All right, so are you ready to dive into the world of Simon Leviev, the Tinder Swindler?
Absolutely. This story is wild. It really seems to touch a nerve with so many people.
It does. And we've got a pretty diverse set of sources here, too. News articles, that whole Wikipedia rabbit hole about con artists, even some background on that Netflix doc. Everyone's talking about it.
What I find so fascinating is how Lviv's story kind of preys on our fears about online dating, you know? Like, are we really seeing the real person? And then there's this whole allure of wealth.
Right, it's like, how can we even know who to trust these days with everyone crafting these perfect online personas? So today, let's get to the bottom of this. Is Simon Leviev a visionary or just a really good con artist? Is he a grifter or is he gifted?
Well, to really understand him, I think we should start with his early life. You know, he wasn't always Simon Leviev. He was born Shimon Hayut, and he actually went and legally changed his name.
That's interesting. It's like he was setting the stage for a total reinvention.
Exactly. And that's something you see a lot with con artists. They reinvent themselves to kind of distance themselves from their
Like
past.
they're trying to hide something.
Yeah, it's a way to bury any past misdeeds and present this like fresh new face to the world.
So how does this new Simon Leviev go about building his empire? Or should I say his alleged empire?
Well, this is where Tinder comes in. He was allegedly using the app to connect with women, all while pretending to be this wealthy heir to the LLD Diamonds fortune.
Oh, yeah. And he went all out. Private jets, those fancy hotels, showering them with expensive gifts.
hmm
The guy was a master of illusion.
He knew how to put on a show, but here's where the scheme gets really interesting. Lviv was allegedly running a classic Ponzi scheme. He was using money from new victims to pay off his debts to the old ones.
Wait, hold on. I think we need to explain that for our listeners. Can you break down how a Ponzi scheme works?
Sure, so picture a pyramid. At the top, you have the con artist, in this case, allegedly, Lviv. He brings in these initial investors, promising them huge returns, but instead of actually investing that money, he's using it to pay off earlier investors.
So he's creating this illusion of success to keep the money rolling in.
Exactly. But the problem is it can't last forever. Eventually, you run out of new victims and the whole thing crumbles, leaving everyone except the con artist in financial ruin.
It's like a ticking time bomb. And that's exactly what seems to have happened with Lviev. Two women, Cicely Fiolhu and Pernilla Shoholm. They were featured in the Netflix documentary, and they lost a lot of money thinking they were helping their boyfriend out.
Yeah, and their stories are really eye-opening. They reveal a lot about the tactics he was using.
Like those surprise trips, constantly needing money for these security issues that he made up. And then there's the emotional manipulation.
The thing is, it wasn't just a one-off. He allegedly used these same tactics to exploit multiple women.
It's scary how calculated it all seems. I mean, it's crazy to think someone could keep up this whole act for so long. How did he even convince these women to give him so much money?
It all comes down to psychological manipulation. Con artists like Lviv, they have this special skill set, this blend of charisma and charm, and this way of making you trust them. They're masters at reading people, figuring out their weak spots, and using it against them.
So he was basically customizing his approach for each person, kind of like a chameleon adapting to their surroundings.
Exactly. They often zero in on people who are longing for love connection or a sense of belonging, you know, the kind of people who might get swept away by grand gestures and those fairy tale promises.
And the women in the documentary, they talked about being totally captivated by Levieux's charm and that luxurious lifestyle he projected.
He was offering them a taste of a world that most people only dream of, and he made it seem like he was their ticket to that world. Once he had their trust, he would slowly introduce this element of fear, saying he needed their money because of these security threats that he completely fabricated.
It's like he was twisting their feelings, using their empathy and compassion to his advantage.
It's all part of the emotional manipulation. Leviev allegedly used tactics like love bombing, showering them with love and attention, and then suddenly withdrawing it. It creates this cycle of anxiety and dependence.
Sounds like a classic abuse tactic. Build someone up just to tear them down.
Right.
Make them crave that affection even more.
Unfortunately, yeah. And the consequences go way beyond just the financial loss. The victims are left with emotional scars, trust issues, a deep sense of betrayal. Like Cicely, she talked about how it completely devastated her life. She even had to declare bankruptcy.
It just shows that these aren't victimless crimes. The damage can be deep and long-lasting.
Absolutely. This whole case has really started an important conversation about online safety and doing your research in this digital age. It's so easy to create a polished and often misleading image of yourself.
So what can we learn from all this? How do we protect ourselves from falling into these traps?
I think the key is to approach online interactions with a healthy amount of skepticism, especially when it comes to matters of the heart and finances. Don't be afraid to ask questions, do your research, and trust your gut if something feels off. Remember, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
And even after being exposed by the documentary, Leviev seems to be doing pretty well. He's still active on social media, is showing off his lifestyle, even charging for personalized videos and appearances.
It's kind of mind-boggling, isn't it? It makes you wonder how effective our justice system really is when someone with multiple convictions can seemingly carry on like nothing happened.
It definitely challenges our notions of accountability and consequences. So has Simon Leviev really changed? Or is this just rebranding another chapter in the Tinder Swindler story?
It's the big question, isn't it? He claims to be a legitimate businessman, but his actions tell a different story.
It's like he's enjoying the notoriety.
Mm.
He's even trying to profit from it. I heard he's working on a book and a TV show. Is this a genuine attempt at redemption? Or is it just another way to cash in on his infamy?
That's a question that keeps people talking. His story really delves into the complexities of human psychology, that blurry line between truth and lies, and the enduring allure of wealth and fame.
It makes you wonder, can people truly change, or are they always going to be defined by their past actions? The documentary really made waves, didn't it? It felt like everyone was talking about it once those details about Lviev's schemes came out.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely sparked a reaction. And, Cecily Pernilla and Aileen Charlotte, they've been so brave coming forward and sharing their stories and really pushing for justice.
They even started that GoFundMe page to try and recoup some of the money they lost.
Right. It's inspiring to see them trying to take back control, after going through something so traumatic. And the support from the public has been incredible.
It has. Their story has sparked a global conversation about these romance scams and how dangerous online deception can be. It's made people really think about how they portray themselves online and the potential fallout from those carefully constructed personas.
Yeah, it's a wake-up call for sure. And then there's the impact on LLD Diamonds.
The company he was claiming to be the heir to.
Exactly. They had to come out publicly and distance themselves from him. They even filed a police complaint.
It must have been a huge blow to his whole charade. Here he is pretending to be this diamond tycoon, and the real company's like, hold up, we don't even know this guy.
Talk about a reality check.
Yeah.
And even with all of this coming to light, Leviev is still sticking to his story. He denies any wrongdoing and keeps portraying himself as this successful businessman on social media.
It's almost as if he's clinging even tighter to the illusion.
But it seems like his control over the narrative is slipping. Even after the documentary, another woman came forward saying Leviev had scammed her. And get this, she actually watched the documentary and believed he was innocent.
Wow, so she reached out to him.
Yeah. It's amazing how some people are still drawn to him even after seeing the evidence. It shows the power of manipulation and how convincing a carefully built facade can be.
So where do things stand with him now?
Well, he's living in Israel. He's banned from Tinder and other dating apps, but he still has a big presence on social media.
That's gotta be frustrating for his alleged victims. They're still trying to rebuild their lives and get justice for what they've been through.
It is. It highlights how difficult and drawn out the pursuit of justice can be. But their courage in speaking out has definitely raised awareness and might even prevent others from falling into the same trap.
It's a powerful reminder that we need to be cautious online.
Absolutely. I think Simon Leviev's story serves as a cautionary tale about the fine line between charm and manipulation, vision and deceit. We need to be critical thinkers, especially online where appearances can be so deceiving.
It shows that anyone can become a victim to a skilled con artist. But by understanding their methods, the manipulation, the love bombing, the made-up stories, we can become more aware and protect ourselves from their schemes.
In a world where charisma and controversy are often intertwined, it's our responsibility to stay vigilant, question what we see, and trust our gut. After all, separating a true visionary from a master manipulator can mean the difference between inspiration and exploitation.